Hello friends, my name is Jeff Hamill and I'm the producer of the Whitfield Analysis. I would like to welcome you to hour 1 of the iTunes version of the Whitfield Analysis. For more information, please go to ngcmedia.net/WA Radio Show. Also follow Sam on Twitter at SamW_NGC. I hope you enjoy hour 1 of the WA Radio Show. Hello friends, Jeff Hamill here. The holiday season is officially upon us, and that means it is time to go out and buy gifts for your friends and relatives. The greatest gift you can give your loved ones is a power bank from Octopod. A power bank is a portable charging station that you can connect any USB device to. Go to octopod.com/NGC and check out the Ion 10, Ion 3, and Ion Solar power banks. Again, their website is octo-pod.com/NGC. And remember, NGC is powered by Octopod.
In a world where political correctness, liberal indoctrination, and a bought and paid for mainstream media are destroying the American dream, one man will use his microphone to change the narrative, spread information, and uncover the truth. Broadcasting live from the Next Gen Conservative Studios, this is the Whitfield Analysis with Sam Whitfield.
Alright folks, welcome to the Whitfield Analysis. I am the aforementioned Sam Whitfield, broadcasting live from NGC1 here in southern Florida on the Next Gen Conservative Radio Network. I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. The email as usual is samwhitfield@ngcmedia.net. You can follow me on Twitter at samw_NGC. Hashtag WA Radio Show, and you can call the voicemail line at 941-564-5805. We may try and see if we can take that phone number live at some point, but until then it'll just act as a voicemail line. We are also joined in studio by Jeff Hamill, our producer.
What up?
And the host of the JHP, which you can catch Tuesdays here on Next Gen Conservative Radio. Alright, folks, what have we got going on? So tonight, we have a bunch of stories to cover tonight. The first and foremost is a story that I do want to cover, and it's kind of been causing a lot of controversy, at least on my Facebook feed. So I'm just going to come out and tell the truth immediately. I hope you're sitting down for this because this is an absolutely shocker. Jeff, are you sitting down?
Currently in a desk chair, but I'd rather be laying down. So guys, get comfortable here. It's going to be a shocker. I don't even know what you're talking about, but I know it's a shocker.
I did not watch Obama's speech on Thursday night.
Ah! What? Why? Everybody must watch. It's almost mandated nowadays. We gotta watch it. Always gotta watch it.
I know. But the other thing that people don't realize is Jeff didn't watch the.
Sam, don't tell them that.
I'm sorry.
No, I didn't watch it.
There was something about the Hunger Games, and I think the Hunger Games, there's like some universal law now where like the Hunger Games I think takes precedent over Obama's speeches, right? Isn't that like the new? Isn't like that the new galactic law?
Well, it is for me, and so if you guys have been listening to Sam's show for the past couple of weeks, you've noticed for the past 3 weeks I've been trying to get Sam to watch the Hunger Games. Well, guess what? He still hasn't freaking watched the first one.
It's not that I don't want to watch it. It's that I don't want to spend like $6 to rent it. And that's directed at you, iTunes.
Hey, we can work something out. There's this thing known as the internet, and I'm pretty sure I could find a borrowing website, which I may or may not have already linked to your Facebook page.
Are you telling me I need to go check my feed?
maybe after the show we can sit down and watch it tonight. But if you Google search Hunger Games movie, you could probably pay for it. But then there's another word that starts with F, and it's, as President Obama would say, it's 3 letters, FREE, and I'm pretty sure you could find it that way. But again, we're not condoning. Make sure you go to iTunes and you purchase, or go to, like, you know what? Go to Walmart and purchase it. Because it'll help the system.
Look, it's not. I don't have a problem with purchasing movies at all, but I mean, iTunes, and I don't know if this is just me, but it seems really ridiculous that iTunes and some of these other video rental services charge $6 for you to stream the movie for like only 24 hours. It just, because like it's because once you start that movie, it like starts to tick down, and like after you finish the movie, like it just disappears. Like you don't have access to.
Oh yeah, I had a friend who rented a movie once, and then I bought Divergent on iTunes. However, the movie Divergent I could not watch, or I couldn't actually purchase it legally. I mean, legally I did, but I had to use a VPN because I was in Haiti, and iTunes does not allow Haiti to purchase iTunes material. So I had to say that I was in the United States, and actually the VPN, if you don't know what a VPN is, it pretty much just goes IP address to IP address to IP address. How do I say this properly? It told iTunes that I traveled the world, or at least the United States, super fast. Because one day I'd be in Sam's state of Colorado, the next I would be in Kansas, the next I'd be in Texas, and then Pennsylvania and Ohio. Like, it was all over the place. And it was like within an hour, it was telling me I was across the United States.
Wow.
But I did end up buying it, and Divergent sucked. So we got a second one looking forward to then.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, I mean, like, every once in a while, iTunes will do, like, this deal where, like, you can buy the whole movie for, like, $10, which isn't that bad. I bought Skyfall for $10 on the iTunes store, which, by the way, Jeff thinks I need to watch The Hunger Games. I think Jeff needs to watch James Bond, but that's another story for hour number 2, perhaps. Maybe in the entertainment and pop culture.
Me and Sam actually talk about this probably every night for a good 20 minutes. I kid you not. I'm trying to tell him you should watch The Hunger Games, and he's like, well, maybe you should freaking start at the very first of 37 million James Bond movies, or you could skip ahead to Skyfall. But I'm like, I have so many other shows I've already watched to rewatch. I just started Kyle XY for the 3rd time on Netflix. Which is one of the greatest shows ever, by the way.
Blue Bloods finally made it onto Netflix, and I watched the first entire season when it actually premiered on television, but then I missed seasons 2 and 3, but like I decided to watch them both. I decided to watch the series from the beginning, and it's a good show. I'm surprised because I don't usually like Law and Order. I think is highly overrated, but Blue Bloods is pretty good. At any rate, the point that we were trying to make is neither of us watched the speech that Obama made on Thursday, and I don't know why, but for some reason a bunch of conservatives seemed to be very upset that I didn't watch the speech. But look, here's the thing, folks. Everything that Obama said in that speech, because I did watch it on YouTube later on, everything Obama said in that speech, I've heard him say before in years past. Obama is not saying anything like new or groundbreaking that we haven't already heard before, so I don't get why people are outraged now when clearly he's been saying the same thing about immigration for years and years and years. It's not like the fact that he's an unconstitutional president is breaking news. And I don't know, folks, but I'm just at the point now where, like, I expect so little from Obama that, like, whenever he does something, like, I'm not disappointed anymore. Even, like, it's not that I'm not upset, because I am. It's just I expect so little from him, and, like, I'm not surprised at anything he does anymore. That, like, I just don't see the purpose in, like, getting overly upset about anything anymore that he does. I mean, Jeff, does that make sense to you at all, or?
I can only listen to a dog bark so many times before I realize the fact that he's just going to bark again and again and again. Not to say Obama's a dog, but I'm trying to say that it's expected to understand what he's about to say. I know the words he's about to say before he even says it.
Yeah.
And so there was no reason for me to listen live. I already knew the blueprints. I already knew the spark notes from before it happened. They could have just put out a transcript of what he was going to say, and I could have written it and not even been told what the story, like, what the specifics were.
Right. I mean, I think what you and I are both trying to say is, like, regardless, we were both expecting what he was going to say, so therefore there wasn't really, like, any reason to get overly upset. Now, is it upsetting that Obama wants to do this immigration stuff via executive action? Of course it is. But if you've been paying attention for the last 4 years or 6 years, even before I was president of the United States, he was campaigning on all this stuff about the immigration reform. And yeah, anyone who is surprised that he wants to do this via executive action, are you really surprised? Because he's tried doing everything else via executive action. This is where we're at now in America. As Dennis Miller likes to say, it's America 180. Things have just become things have gotten so weird now in America, to the point where, like, weird is normal and normal is weird. Well, normal doesn't even exist, at least not in the definition that I put it in, or that I think Jeff puts it in, or that most conservative Americans put it in, per se.
Yeah, this isn't the first time he's ever said something that was, like, pretty much unconstitutional, and in this case, actually unconstitutional. He said, like, things throughout the years. Heck, he said things back in his first election that I would constitute as unconstitutional. And he said it with a smile on his face and certainty. And guess what? He won 2 elections by a fairly large margin.
Right. Now, the second election, as we've discussed, wasn't the margin wasn't as big that time around, but like I said, part of that is because not enough conservatives got out to vote for Mitt Romney. But that
it was that, but they also just I don't know. It was really. I think a lot of people woke up to the fact that Obama was a sucky president after the first time. My boss voted for Obama the first time because he was like, that's a great speech. He can do a really good speech in front of the general public now and again. But then my boss heard him speak and then heard what he wanted and realized the problems with it and didn't vote for him the second time. So I think a lot of people were like, this isn't the same guy that we wanted. And so they took back their vote from the second time. And also, again, people didn't go out and vote like they should have. I'm looking at you, younger generation. I'm looking at my generation. We ain't voting because it doesn't matter.
Well,
it really does.
Yeah, it does. Part of it is too is I guarantee you there were a bunch of us that couldn't vote to begin with, though, because had I been old enough to vote, I was still only 17 when the election.
Yeah, me too.
But had I been old enough, had I been 18, you bet your butt I would have. Now
Mitt Romney would have gotten 2 more votes. Probably 5 more if you count everybody at NGC Media, assuming we couldn't all vote. However, 2 of us could, so he would have gotten 3 more votes. However, I could tell you that half of my class, which I live in a fairly conservative area, half of my class would have voted for Obama, and I'm really happy that they weren't old enough to vote. There's actually a kid on election day. I put up a status like first time voting. He goes, huh, first time voting, aren't you like 22? And I'm like, no, I'm 19. Do the math. I was 17 during the last election. Oh, my.
Yeah.
When you think you know somebody, and then they just say stupid stuff.
It's like when my, like, half my class, well, I shouldn't say half, but like a very good portion of my class, because I also went to a very like conservative high school in Colorado, but like even so, like the vast majority of my peers were liberal, and a lot of them just would have voted for Obama because, I don't know, he's black and that seems kind of the cool thing to do. Not necessarily to say it's like a racial thing, but like, you know, they all said that they kind of wanted to vote for him because of that, which
it's a racial thing. It's a racial thing.
That's a stupid thing, you know, just to vote for someone because, and like, I'm not just saying that because I'm a racist conservative, even though that's what some of you think, but you know, it's like voting for Jeff just because he has black hair. Or because he may have a mustache. Or something else. So anyway, what we want to do is
I do have a mustache growing right now, and I need to shave the crap out of it.
It's No Shave November, though. Although you and I don't.
I do shave every month of the year because I don't want to be patchy McPatch over here. Because that's what ends up going to happen. I can't grow. Like, if you ever see Sam's pictures, he gets the nice, you know, chops going on the sides. I can't do that crap. I grow like a quarter of one, and then it like skips a good 2 or 3 inches, and then continues the motion.
Well, thank you for the compliment on my chops, first of all. But
Absolutely.
I also have to. What most people don't realize is I do have to maintain those because, like last week or 2 weeks ago, my mom said, "Okay, it's time for you to go shave. You're starting to look like a homeless vagabond or something," which I was. I mean, the mutton chops do kind of require, maintenance. But getting back on topic, because we had a whole bunch of tangents already.
No kidding.
And we're not even 20 minutes into the show. I kind of want to break down this speech a little bit from the beginning and just kind of reiterate my point, which is that we haven't really heard anything new coming from Obama, and I just don't get the outrage. So, Jeff, if you have the clip queued up, I'd like to start at the beginning. This is Obama talking about immigration on Thursday night. Cut number 1, and by the way, we do have our chat room open up on Mixler, so if you want to comment, feel free to sign up there. It's a free account, and leave your comments, and Jeff and I will get to your comments in between clips of this. So, cut number 1, go.
My fellow Americans, tonight I'd like to talk with you about immigration. For more than 200 years, our tradition of welcoming immigrants from around the world has given us a tremendous advantage over other nations. It's kept us youthful, dynamic, and entrepreneurial. It has shaped our character as a people with limitless possibilities. People not trapped by our past, but able to remake ourselves as we choose. But today, our immigration system is broken, and everybody knows it. Families who enter our country the right way and play by the rules watch others flout the rules. Business owners who offer their workers good wages and benefits see the competition exploit undocumented immigrants by paying them far less. All of us take offense to anyone who reaps the rewards of living in America without taking on the responsibilities of living in America. And undocumented immigrants who desperately want to embrace those responsibilities.
Stop real quick. Okay, so one thing I'd like to point out, and this is the thing that I've realized about Obama is he does all his speeches very systematically. Everything he says right there in that first clip, I really can't disagree with anything that he says right then and there.
Absolutely.
Because
it's everything that we stand for. We stand for everything that he just said, especially trying to make the documented and undocumented the same in terms of wages and such.
Right, and so, Obama really, whether you like the guy or not, you have to admit that he's a brilliant speechwriter in the sense that he can suck most people in. Because most people heard, I can guarantee you that a lot of people throughout the country heard that right there, and after he said that, they were just sucked in completely by him, and they just listened to whatever he said. And this is one of Obama's tactics that, again, whether you like him or not, and we here at NGC Media personally don't that much as president, even we have to admit that he is a brilliant speaker when it comes to, sucking people in. No one is denying that the immigration system is broken, but the proposals that you'll hear are coming from him are something to be rather concerned about. Okay, continue on. Cut number 2.
See little option but to remain in the shadows or risk their families being torn apart. It's been this way for decades. And for decades, we haven't done much about it. When I took office, I committed to fixing this broken immigration system. And I began by doing what I could to secure our borders. Today, we have more agents and technology deployed to secure our southern border than at any time in our history.
Okay, that's a lie. That's a lie right there. Our border still is not secure. So that's a lie. Fast and Furious, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone remember that? So right then and there, we're not even a whole minute and a half into this speech, I don't think, and he's already lying. But again, like I said, a lot of Americans got sucked in at the part where we agreed with him, where everyone agrees with him. And that's kind of how Obama operates, ladies and gentlemen. All right, continuing on, cut number 3.
And over the past 6 years, illegal border crossings have been cut by more than half. Although this summer there was a brief spike in unaccompanied children being apprehended at our border, the number of such children is now actually lower than it's been in nearly 2 years. Overall, the number of people trying to cross our border illegally is at its lowest level since the 1970s. Those are the facts. Meanwhile,
why do you think he brought up 1970s? Probably because 1980s was when Reagan was in office, and amnesty was a big idea by Reagan.
Yep, that was probably most likely the case. And in fact, later on in the speech, you'll hear him make like some bizarre comparison, which is, oh well, President Bush and President Clinton and even President Reagan did all this, and like I don't know if you've noticed this about him, Jeff, but he likes to compare himself to like the other president, like, oh well, President Bush did this, so why can't I do this? It's kind of like a little kid who says, oh, well, my older brother got a cookie, so I should get a cookie.
Right. He needs to compare himself to the last generation of presidents. Because if he doesn't, then everybody's going to be like, well, this guy's a screw-up. Because he is. But he's going to try and make it seem less of an ideological step backwards in immigration. We agree that our immigration system, for the most part, is broken, but he's lying about the border, and he's going to try and make it sound like we need this and that, when, in fact, we just don't need his ideas. Well, they're disastrous.
Right. Well, we need to fix the immigration system, but the way we go about it is going to be way different than what he proposes. So... continuing on, let's hear what he has to say further regarding this matter.
Meanwhile, I worked with Congress on a comprehensive fix. And last year, 68 Democrats, Republicans, and independents came together to pass a bipartisan bill in the Senate. It wasn't perfect. It was a compromise. But it reflected common sense. It would have doubled the number of Border Patrol agents while giving undocumented immigrants a pathway to citizenship if they paid a fine, started paying their taxes, and went to the back of the line. And independent experts said that it would help grow our economy and shrink our deficits. Had the House of Representatives allowed that kind of bill a simple yes or no vote, it would have passed with support from both parties. And today it would be the law. But for a year and a half now, Republican leaders in the House have refused to allow that simple vote. Now, I continue to believe that the best way to solve this problem is by working together to pass that kind of common sense law.
Stop right there. Okay, so he immediately blames the Republican-controlled House, saying that we had this bill and it wasn't perfect, but it was still pretty good. But that evil House of Representatives, they couldn't allow it to go through. Gosh darn it. So this is all their fault. But not really, because I don't want to come over there and say that it's like that. I mean, it's just... Obama likes to blame people and then say, oh, I'm not blaming anyone. It's weird.
Well, I really hate how he does his bipartisanship. It's like the Republicans are going up to him and saying, hey, Mr. President, we have this idea. And he's like, no, I don't want to talk to you. But then he has an idea. So get over here. You have to sign this paper. We have to agree on this. Hey, Sam, Mr. Representative from Florida, get over here now.
Yeah,
like the old bully at school. Obama is a bully. I'll say it. That's the only way he's going to be able to get these bipartisan bills through is by either getting the weakest Republicans or getting and bullying some of the most regular Republicans to flip sides. No Republican necessarily is going to be for this.
I don't know.
They don't agree with why.
Yeah, I don't know, Jeff, if you've ever heard this. I did this bit way back before I met you, but like, did you ever hear my bit about how Washington D.C. is like high school?
No, I haven't.
Okay, this is rather funny if I do say so myself. So Obama is part of. He's like the part of like the cool kids clique with like Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid and all those guys, and the Republicans are kind of like the nerd, are kind of like the nerd or the geek, group at school, and like some of the geeks will compromise on their values because they want to hang out with the cool kids, and like they want to become part of the cool kids clique, and like they want to like go smoke pot out in the school parking lot during lunch, and hang out behind the football field after school, and do delinquent stuff, and but also the cool kids clique, they're kind of the bullies, but they act like the victims whenever they get caught with something. Like they're always like, oh well, we don't bully anyone. It's those guys over there, and they point at like the nerd group,
the dorks that are reading the comic books and doing their homework. It's like, us, we didn't do anything.
Yeah, and it's like, the jocks point at the comic book nerds, and the kids who are actually doing their homework and whatnot. And as soon as like the teacher, being the American people, are like, oh well, we believe you, and as for you nerds, you're in trouble. It's kind of like, and then Obama's like, cool, let's go smoke more pot, and
it's kind of like blaming a kid in a wheelchair for stabbing 5 people with a butter knife.
Oh yeah. Yeah, or not that said kid in a wheelchair actually is stabbed, but it's
they
like
blamed it on him.
They blamed said kid in a wheelchair for conspiring to stab.
Oh, that's right.
To stab.
If you guys aren't getting our joke, go to episode number 12 of the WA Radio Show. ngcmedia.net/WA Radio Show. Boom, plug.
Wow, Jeff, your chronology of my show is really good.
The only reason I know that was because I was going through old audio clips, and it just stuck out to me. It's like, I think episode 12 is called Gun Control. Episode 12 is hour 1 of whatever day that was. But it's not like I sit and memorize your show. I apologize. I mean, I listen to every one, and I'm also on it, but I just don't. I don't. memorize everything.
That was perfect. And that the other funny thing is, our good friend Captain Lynch, aka Captain America on the Shield, one of our former colleagues made like a comment that like I stabbed him in the back or something, and Captain America said something that like there's no logical way he could have stabbed you in the back because he can't even get up that
high to stab you in the back.
So,
Sam is an ass stabber. That's what we're going to learn today. Sam is just an ass stabber.
Yeah. We could actually title that as the episode.
Sam the ass stabber.
Or no, but seriously, that's like what Obama does. Is like he blames the Republicans and makes them out to look like the bullies, and immediately he's blaming the House of Representatives on this point, and it's to me it just seems childish. So let's see if he'll actually propose anything.
He won't.
Well, Jeff, I mean, he is the president of the United States, after all.
Yeah, well, he still won't do anything productive. He's still in Washington, D.C., after all.
Yeah.
Common sense law. But until that happens, there are actions I have the legal authority to take as president. The same kinds of actions taken by Democratic and Republican presidents before me that will help make our immigration system more fair and more just. Tonight, I'm announcing those actions. First, we'll build on our progress at the border with additional resources for our law enforcement personnel so that they can stem the flow of illegal crossings and speed the return of those who do cross over. Second, I'll make it easier and faster for high-skilled immigrants, graduates, and entrepreneurs to stay and contribute to our economy, as so many business leaders have proposed.
Okay, stop right there. Aren't the entrepreneurs and business leaders, aren't those the ones who immigrate over here illegally anyway, for the most part?
Here's the reason why people who own businesses want illegal immigrants to stay here. Because they don't have to pay them in the tax bracket.
Right.
That's the reason why they want them to stay here. I work in with plants. I work in a nursery. Baby plants, not baby humans. I work with plants, and there was a guy in upstate New York who was bragging to my boss that not a single person who works in the yard is on a tax bracket because they're all illegal, and he pays them $5 an hour instead of $7.25. Bragging to my boss, and my boss is like, I'm the one who should be bragging. I'm the only person who pays my employees correctly and has them fill out their tax information. That's the only reason why small business owners and medium-sized business owners and large business owners want immigrants to stay here. They can make more money. It's the same reason why supposedly the feminist mindset of, well, women are paid less comparative to men. No, they're not. That's not possible. Sam, if you had a man and a woman fighting for the same job, but the woman gets paid less, wouldn't you hire the woman? There would be no men ever working again. It's the same idea here. We would never have another immigrant. We'd never have another worker working again.
Right. Right. Well, the other thing too though is I think Obama in that clip specifically was referencing illegal immigrants who themselves are entrepreneurs. I think that's what he was getting at. And what I'm saying is, aren't the immigrant entrepreneurs themselves the ones who immigrate properly anyway? So why are they in this category? That's why is Obama bringing them up if they're already legalized? That's what I'm asking. Anyway, continuing on, cut number 5.
We'll take steps to deal responsibly with the millions of undocumented immigrants who already live in our country. I want to say more about this third issue because it generates the most passion and controversy. Even as we are a nation of immigrants, we're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous. That's why over the past 6 years, deportations of criminals are up 80%. And that's why we're going to keep focusing enforcement resources on actual threats to our security. Felons, not families. Criminals, not children. Gang members, not a mom who's working hard to provide for her kids. We'll prioritize, just like law enforcement does every day.
I like how he brings up the point of we're only going to focus on the criminals because the criminals are the ones who are really breaking the law. No, Barack, they're all breaking the law. Every single one of them is breaking the law. It doesn't matter if one's a gang leader and the other one is a mom trying to work hard. They both broke the law to get over here. Right.
I mean, under his definition, they're both criminals under his definition, or under the current definition. Now, the other thing that I want to know is, well, how are you going to be able to discern that quickly enough? Who's a stay-at-home mom and who's a criminal? And this brings up stuff like, I'm not a big fan of the illegal immigrants, being here illegally, but I'm also not a big fan of the NSA being even more intrusive into our lives. So, like, again, how does the government distinguish between the illegal immigrants and the, the stay-at-home moms versus the gangbangers?
and even he's like, well, deportation of criminals has gone up since, whenever his fake year or number was. Here's how we deport criminals. Okay? They are in El Paso, Texas. They go across the border and 5 miles. They get dropped off. Then they walk the 5 miles back, jump over the border, and get back to El Paso. That's not successful. We currently we're not working with the Mexican government or any government in the Central or South American regions. And we have to work with them in order for it to actually work and for us to actually be able to successfully deport these quote-unquote criminals and children, when we should only be focusing on the criminals. No, we're supposed to get rid of them all.
Right. Because, well, under the current definition, they're all criminals anyway. So Obama, to say that we're gonna choose one class of criminal over another, well, that's kind of defeating the whole purpose. It doesn't work. And that's our whole entire point, is Obama has said all this stuff before, but nothing has really changed. So I suppose let's continue on a little bit more.
Before we get there, I'm going to read some comments. And
oh yeah,
Zach said, "What do you think he's trying to accomplish with this action? What's his real goal?" Zach claims that his real goal is to troll Republicans into obsessing about impeaching him for the next 2 years to ruin our legislative agenda. That's code or something. You don't think I'm a real president because I'm black. I'm not going to disagree with you, Zach. I think that personally. Actually, Sam, go ahead. It's your show. What do you think is the real intention, the real goal that he's trying to accomplish by taking this action?
I think Obama is. I can't disagree with Zach either. I think that this, in part of my French, but I think that this is kind of a real fuck you to the Republicans, since we voted all Republicans. This is a real fuck you to the country, since the vast majority of America voted for Republicans in the primaries. And I think he's just saying that now he's going to do everything through executive action. And I think he does want us to kind of harp on impeaching him, kind of like Zach is saying. However, I would go back to the point that our guest last week, Michael Hauser, made, which is that what will impeaching Obama get us? It will get us Joe Biden. If we can't even impeach him, that is. Which now in Congress we do, but what I mean by that is, like, if we impeach him, it will just make Republicans look bad at this point. And like I said, we need to focus more on 2016. The other theory that could be possible that Dennis Miller brought up this week is that Obama is just that stupid that he really does think that this will fix our immigration problem, that could very well be plausible too. But Jeff, what do you think about all this?
I wouldn't disagree in the slightest. I think that could be very well true, that he's trying to make us impeach him, which Ted Cruz, get off the podium. Stop saying we need to impeach Obama. What it's going to do if we impeach Obama is it's going to make the Republicans in history, it's going to make the Republicans look like crap. It's going to make the Republicans look like we had to defeat this black guy.
Right.
That might not be politically correct, but that is exactly what's going to happen. The first black president was impeached from the overmajority of a white controlled House and Senate.
Yeah, of a white racist party. And that's exactly what will happen is the Democrats have already tried to make the Republican Party look like the Ku Klux Klan, even though it's not. See Mia Love, see Ben Carson, see Herman Cain. But, regardless, they've been trying to get on this KKK stereotype for decades, practically. And, which is ironic since they're the ones who actually had KKK members in their party.
Sam, don't talk about that.
I'm sorry. We can't actually use real history anymore. We have to use the pretend history that they want us.
we have to use the history that the paint-lead eaters thought of. I think the other reason why, and this might be super controversial, but Obama is only going to be deporting selected groups. Nothing will change, just like what Zach says. Nothing will change about his executive orders. He has selectively, he was going to deport anyway. I truly think that he is only going to deport specific groups of illegals. Not the criminals, not the gangbangers, not the gang makers, not the...
not the drug cartels.
Right. He is going to deport, get ready for it, the more Republican Catholic side of the Mexican and Puerto Rican, not Puerto Rican necessarily, but the South Americans. And I'm saying Mexico because they're the ones who are right below us, but anybody from Central and South America that are coming up here illegally, Obama is going to try and get rid of the Republicans. He does not want to get rid of the Democratic votes. So this entire speech, to me, if he's actually going after all the illegals, which he's not, he's going after the ones who aren't making a lot of money, i.e. the mother who's trying to make money for her family. Do you know how she's going to vote? Democrat. Guaranteed. Because the government is going to go in and help her out. Not the government. The right. Democrat Party is going to go help her out for votes.
Right. I mean, this is all, and whether you like Rush Limbaugh or not, he's right about one thing, which is that Rush is absolutely right when he says, and Rush has said this for years, the Democrats don't care about illegal immigrants. They care about making future Democrats, and that's all they've ever cared about, is making future Democrat voters. Now,
yeah. And then once they get that sweet taste of free money, they'll never go back. And I'm getting ahead to hour 2, but they will never, ever go back to the hardworking mindset that made America great.
Well, and unfortunately, a lot of these illegal immigrants crossing over, think about this, Jeff, they don't even know what hard work in this country means because they're already getting free stuff to begin with, so they'll probably think that getting free stuff is the norm.
I don't think first-generation immigrants will think that way. I think a lot of immigrants do come here to work. But I think their children, especially children that are born over here, are going to start thinking that way. Mom and dad, they worked pretty hard, but they also were on welfare. And after they were fired from their third job for being illegal, and we're legal citizens, we're just going to continue to taste the sweet flavor and wine or honeysuckle or whatever the phrase is, of free government aid. Well, guess what, Sam? There's no such thing as free government aid. It's paid government aid.
Right.
And you know who's paying for it? Oh, that's right. Everyone else.
And that sweet, sweet wine is actually box wine that you bought at the
Well, it should be. It should be box wine. It should be not even wine. It should be like grape juice.
Well,
it should be. Now, I like grape juice, but it's no wine.
Well,
it needs to be so bad that nobody wants to be on it. And if they are on it, it should be a freaking shame that you're on it. Sam, do you know the old EBT cards, the food stamps and such, were actually stamps. They actually had to bring these suckers out and be like, yeah, I have food stamps. It did not look like a credit card so that you could look normal. The point is to not look normal. It's not to be normal. It's supposed to be, do you feel bad about this? It's kind of like the parent who gives their kid a timeout and then, or not necessarily that, but you used to have the kid sitting in the front of the room with a dunce hat on and when they got in trouble. They didn't want to do that. It was a bad sign of disrespect and, whatever else. We have this mindset of the dunce cap is off. And we give these people EBT cards that look exactly like credit cards so that they don't feel shamed. Yeah, screw that.
Right.
Make them feel shameful. Make them feel like crap. Because when you make them feel like crap, they're not going to want to feel like that anymore. And they'll get their butts off of their couch and they'll go do something with their life.
Well, even the ones who I have to tell you a story. And I think Stephanie Conway, since she and I share similar ethnic backgrounds, she can probably attest to this too. But back during the Great Depression, the Italian Americans had a really tough time of it, as did most immigrants. But my grandfather told me the story once of his great-grandfather, or no, his I think it was his father or his great-grandfather had lost his job at the factory where he was working, and he loved what he was doing, but he lost his job because of the Depression, and he was trying to find work still, but he had to go on food stamps, but he didn't want anyone to know that his family was on food stamps, and so he went to the government office to get food stamps, and then he went to the market to buy bread and buy meat and buy olive oil, all this. It was the Italian market, so, he just wanted to buy food. And he had, lots of food stamps left over that he, had to put in the bag. So he was walking home from the market in the middle of winter. His neighbor stops by and starts talking with him, and I can't remember how this happened, but the bag broke. It just, something happened and it split open, and everything was on the ground, and then the food stamps were all over the place, and my great-great-grandfather was so mortified that he just ran home crying. I mean, he was so embarrassed that he was on food stamps that this was a grown man, and he was literally crying about it. Now, eventually, once the Depression was over, he was able to get off food stamps, and it wasn't forever, but that story was passed down, through our family, and it was so embarrassing, the fact that he had to rely on someone else. And it's just like, where is that in our country now? You know, we don't have that mentality. Now, I'm not necessarily saying everyone should go, you know, be crying because they're on food stamps, but there's no motivator to get off food stamps anymore. And it's just, well, what do we do?
Not only that, we get penalized nowadays for not being on food stamps. If you want a successful economy, you cannot, and I mean cannot, punish the people who are making the money. But that's what our government is doing.
Right. And look, I'm not saying that food stamps are necessarily bad. There are people who need them. But, you know, even so, like, I do know people who, you know, were on food stamps, but then they were able to get off food stamps. And, you know, that's how it should be. There should be some sort of motivation to get off food stamps and not be on them all the time. But again, this leads back to Obama just wants to give free handouts to all the illegal immigrants who are here. So, bottom line, nothing has really changed from what Obama has said in the previous years at all. That pretty much is the bottom line. So, long story short, I don't feel like I missed anything from watching that speech on Thursday night. Do you, Jeff?
No, I could have told you what was going to happen long time ago. And I get, like you said, nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is the fact that he's actually speaking about it in public, and he's calling up Time Magazine and CNN and Fox, and pretty much he's calling up the media and saying, "Hey, we have a story for you, Mr. President," or I have a story for you. What is it, Mr. President? Immigration. Same crap. Except for this time I'm going to speak. And it's like, oh, okay. And so then he speaks, and then everyone's like, well, we just wasted 15 minutes. We wasted 5 minutes listening to him talk. Because we already know what he wants. We already know what he's going to talk about. And it's just a waste of time.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely is. So, folks, we have our number 2 coming up, and during our number 2, we're going to talk a lot more about entertainment and television and what's on Netflix, but we're also going to be talking about the Bill Cosby controversy that has popped up. I've got some info about that, and that'll be coming up on our number 2 of the Whitfield Analysis, coming up in just a few minutes right here on the NGC Radio Network. So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back for our number 2.
Keith Olbermann still cries over the fact that a teenager outwitted him on Twitter. Follow Sam on Twitter at SamW__.
Hello friends, Jeff Hamill here. The holiday season is officially upon us, and that means it is time to go out and buy gifts for your friends and relatives. The greatest gift you can give your loved ones is a power bank from Octopod. A power bank is a portable charging station that you can connect any USB device to. Go to octopod.com/NGC and check out the Ion 10, Ion 3, and Ion Solar power banks. Again, their website is octo-pod.com/NGC. And remember, NGC is powered by Octopod. Hello friends, my name is Jeff Hamill and I'm the producer of the Whitfield Analysis. I would like to welcome you to hour 1 of the iTunes version of the Whitfield Analysis. For more information, please go to ngcmedia.net/WA Radio Show. Also follow Sam on Twitter at SamW_NGC. I hope you enjoy hour 1 of the WA Radio Show. Hello friends, Jeff Hamill here. The holiday season is officially upon us, and that means it is time to go out and buy gifts for your friends and relatives. The greatest gift you can give your loved ones is a power bank from Octopod. A power bank is a portable charging station that you can connect any USB device to. Go to octopod.com/NGC and check out the Ion 10, Ion 3, and Ion Solar power banks. Again, their website is octo-pod.com/NGC. And remember, NGC is powered by Octopod.
The liberal left thought they had won the war over the millennial generation. Conservatives feared that the founding ideals were dead. They weren't counting on Sam Whitfield to try and stop them. Broadcasting live, it's Hour 2 of the Whitfield Analysis with your host, Sam Whitfield.
Hiroshi, let's light this candle. Welcome to the Whitfield Analysis, the second hour. I'm your Appleman and host, Mr. Sam Whitfield, broadcasting live on NGC1 with the greatest producer in the world.
Shucks.
At my side. Well, kind of at my side. Not really at my side, more like in Pennsylvania. Kind of like how Pennsylvania and Florida are at each other's side.
Yeah. We're
Even
practically
though,
neighbors, except for in Maryland, Washington D.C., Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. Skip those states. We're practically beside each other. I mean, those states don't even matter. Are they even part of the United States anymore?
well, we know
Not really.
We know that West Virginia is, something else, but
Oh yeah.
but anyway, and little nod to Mr. Miller there when I made the Hiroshi comment. Anyway, folks, welcome to hour number 2. Contact info as usual. You can follow me on Twitter at SamW_NGC, hashtag WA Radio Show. The email address is samwhitfield@ngcmedia.net. The phone number is 941-564-5805, where you can leave us a voicemail message at any time, and you can also comment on air on the Mixler chat room. And I like to mix that thing up with the contact info, where I kind of do it out of order, kind of mix the order up, just to see if you guys were paying attention. Because that's what we like to do here at the WA Radio Show. We want to make sure that you're paying attention. Jeff and I do. Anyway, so this is our number 2. We tend to take a lighter mood in the second hour and kind of just talk about. I wouldn't really say that this is our open line hour, but we do kind of tend to loosen the mood. So, Jeff, you saw the Hunger Games on Thursday instead of Obama's speech.
I did.
From the tone in your voice, I'm assuming it was pretty good.
Okay. I'm not going to release any information for anybody who has never seen a Hunger Games movie, i.e. Sam Whitfield. If you were expecting a high action-packed movie like you did the first two, you're highly mistaken. And I knew this was going to be the case from the moment that they announced they were making 2 movies. This movie is not the high action-packed thriller that people expect it to be. No. This is a plot-driven movie where they need to make sense for the action-packed sequence to start. It is not a movie where you see Katniss and Peeta and Gale firing arrows and guns and killing these bad people. It's a movie of a story, and a bunch of things have to happen in order for the final movie to take place. I think I'm in the minority here when I say I would prefer every movie that is written off of a book to be 2 parts, except for movies like The Giver, because The Giver was only 100 and something pages, I believe. But for books that are very small, 1 movie's fine. But books that are like 300, 400, 500 pages long, they should have at least 2 movies.
So you want to go back to the 1970s, basically?
I think that because it makes the story develop much better.
Right. The reason I say that is because most people don't know this, but The Godfather was originally a novel, probably one of my favorite novels.
It was just a single novel.
Yeah, it was just it was just a single novel, but it was one of those books where like within the novel they did like book 1 and book 2. You know how like some novels did that where it's just like 1 book, but then they decided to split the sections up into like book 1 or book 2 within that book. Have you ever read a book like that?
Where it's broken up into parts? Yeah.
That's kind of how The Godfather was, and they broke. And what was brilliant about The Godfather is when they made it into a movie, they made The Godfather Part 1 in 1972, and then they made Godfather Part 2 in 1974. So they did 2 movies, but it was part of the same book, and so I think that's kind of what Hunger Games is doing with this one. It kind of seems.
Well, it kind of seems like it's a lot of movies are doing that. If you want to think about it, the Hunger Games did it. Twilight did it. What was the other one? The other really big Harry Potter did it. It kind of seems like the young adults adventure drama novels are all doing this, where they make their last book multi-part. I think all the movies should do that. The only problem is, like the Harry Potter series, the actors get older and the characters don't necessarily. So it's not necessarily possible if you want the same actors and for it not to look really bad.
Right. Well, and the thing with the Harry Potter film is I think they filmed them both at the same time. They just, released them differently, which that kind of bugs the heck out of me, because it's like, well, if you have 2 movies done at the same time, then why do you have one that's done and one that's just sitting there?
Right.
It just.
So I just Google search Mockingjay Part 1. Actually, let me go back. I'm going to Google search the Hunger Games movie, because that wasn't good enough. Movie, and Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 84%. If I'm looking up Catching Fire, 89%. So the second one was better. And then the third movie, which is Mockingjay Part 1, Rotten Tomatoes thus far. Oh, they don't have it right here. It's in the 70s. Because it's not action-packed like everybody else would like it to be. Listen, people, it's not going to be action-packed adventure, super awesome, fiery bow things. It's going to be slower. It's a story-based movie. And
No.
There was a guy who was saying, like, there was no character development. Katniss didn't really have a character development. That was because between the first 2 movies, it was about a year span between the 2. So Katniss from the first movie is severely different than Katniss from the second movie. The time span between the second and the third books is like 15, 20 minutes. It's not even a week. And so therefore the time is going to extend, and it's not. No. It's not going to be as developed as between the first 2. But Katniss is different in this movie in the fact that she has a different outlook. Peeta is 100% different. Gale is different. Like, the three main characters are different. Katniss's parent or mom and sister are different. Effie Trinket, she's like, characters are different. They're in a different situation than they thought they would ever be a part of. But I actually just got a text from my best friend's sister, and she just said, it's 7:18 in the East Coast, and she sent me a text at 7:18 saying, I just saw Mockingjay, and it was so good, holy crap. But I would agree.
Awesome.
I mean, like, I left the theater saying, if somebody's going to see this weekend, tell me, I'll go watch it again. I will spend the extra money and watch it a second time in theaters, and then I'll buy it when it comes out on DVD. It was so good. And the person who just sent me that text didn't read the books. I did. So she has no idea how any of this turned out. My sister didn't read the books and loved it. So if you were like, I didn't read the books, buy the movies, or the second one's on Netflix, or you can borrow the first one on the internet, whatever, in mediashare.info, and watch the first two, and then go and see the third one in theaters. Even if you didn't read the books, you will enjoy the series. Sam Whitfield, you freaking should start watching these.
I should, because it has Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, yeah. Okay, her real last name, I think we should just tell everybody, is Jennifer Hamill now. I didn't let you guys know. Sam knew. Sam had to stay in the dark, though. Me and Jennifer Lawrence got married.
Yeah.
Sometime in the past now.
I think. I think Kate Upton might be changing her last name to Whitfield, but I'm not sure.
She doesn't know if she wants to go public. I mean, it's a stage name, though.
Yeah, just like my stage name is The Analyzer.
Right. I mean, there's actually a local radio station I was working with, and the main hosts, two of the main hosts of the radio station, they use their maiden name because they're not allowed to use their last name because it's a stage name. Zach says that if you didn't see Interstellar yet, be prepared to be so bored you want to run out of the theater well before it's over. I heard it was a great movie. Here, IMDb, Hunger Games 1, 7.3, Hunger Games 2, 7.7, Hunger Games 3, 7.4, Interstellar, 9. Now Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 73.
Well,
I knew nothing about this film. Do you want me to read the little?
I know
plot?
that I know that it's a Christopher Nolan film, and therefore that's what Christopher Nolan, for those of you who don't know, is the guy who did the Dark Knight trilogy. So that's why Interstellar got so many higher ratings. I don't think it was necessarily because of the movie itself. It was, oh my god, it's a Christopher Nolan film.
Right. In Earth's future, a global crop blight? What the heck is this? And second Dust Bowl are slowly rendering the planet uninhabitable. Professor Brand, which is Michael Caine, yeah. Caine, whatever. Brilliant NASA physicist, is working on plans to save mankind by transporting Earth's population to a new home via a wormhole. But first, Brand must send former NASA pilot Cooper, Matthew McConaughey, and a team of researchers through the wormhole and access the galaxy to find out which of the three planets could be mankind's newest home. Zach said Interstellar was like The Matrix 2 and 3, which I haven't even seen the first one. He said you hate watching, but pretend you, quote-unquote, got it to look cool.
Zach, let me ask you this. Is it one of those global warming propaganda films? Is that what it is? Because I kind of got the feeling that it was like an environmentalist. Like Matt Damon did that like movie 2 years ago about and it was so bad that people don't even remember the name of it. But he did, but Matt Damon made that movie about where he was like a soldier and he was like fighting against the evil corporate power structure, and it was like Star Wars meets An Inconvenient Truth or something like that.
Years of Living Dangerously. Right? Is that it?
No, it was like it came out in 2012 or something like that.
Let me Google search 2012. The only thing I can bring up is that known for Born Legacy, Saving Private Ryan, Good Will Hunting, The Departed. Let me go. 2012.
What about
Promised Land?
2013.
House of Lies. It's the TV show. Elysium. Zeroth.
Yeah. Elysium.
Elysium. Let me see that. In the year 2154, the very wealthy live of a man-made space station, while the rest of the population is on the ruined Earth. A man could bring. Oh yeah. Oh, it's definitely it. Zach responded to it. To your question, he said climate change is part of it, but not really the problem. The problem is that the end is so confusing. You have to read up on what it is actually supposed to mean. That kind of sounds like what was the one that Johnny Depp was in? That was like you had to like do seminars. Like you had to watch. There's actually a YouTube seminar that was 45 minutes long that explained the end of this freaking movie, and I never watched it.
Oh yeah, well the other thing with the Sopranos, with the TV show The Sopranos, is there's that end scene. Which, by the way, folks, if you haven't seen the ending of The Sopranos yet, don't bitch about me and spoiling the ending for you, because if you haven't seen the ending, it's been done since like 2007. So. But anyway, there's the ending of The Sopranos where it's like it just cuts to black, and that's how they end the show. And it's like, well, is he dead or is he not dead, or what happened? And it's just like one of those really stupid endings where it's like you don't know what happened.
Yeah, and didn't they say like, oh, we wanted the fans to determine if he was alive or not? Something stupid like that.
Which, Zach, being from Philly, being from that kind of rough part of the country, I have to ask you, what do you think happened at the end of the Sopranos, or did you not watch it?
I never watched it, but I do know that it was like how the series ended, and it was like Zach said he never saw it either, but it was like, what the heck is going on? Like, okay, Sam, you've never seen Kyle XY, have you?
Not yet, but I'm probably going to now that you've recommended it. To me.
Like, okay, if you're listening, if anybody in the sound of my voice, if you have something you're watching on Netflix, cancel it and start watching Kyle XY. I don't know why, but I love this show. I have watched it the entire way through twice, and I'm watching it for the third time. It's a science fiction TV series where there's a kid. He's about 16. He doesn't remember anything about himself, and they're trying to determine who he is. And he has he's a super genius, and it just goes through his story.
No, wait, is this the kid who doesn't have a belly button?
It is the kid that doesn't have a belly button.
Okay, that's where I remember. That's why I remember, because I remember like when I was younger and I used to read comic books a lot more, or I still read books, but like when I read more current comic books, I remember seeing like ads for Kyle XY on TV, and I'm like,
Here's
that could
something interesting about NGC and Kyle XY. The lead actor, Kyle, his real name is Matt Dallas.
Ah,
Like, his legit name is also Matt Dallas. And I was like...
wait, really?
Oh, yeah. Like, if you look up Matt Dallas on Facebook... Here, I'll Google search the name Matt Dallas. And Matthew Dallas, an American actor best known for playing the title character on the NBC family series Kyle XY. He's 32. Holy cow. I did not expect that. He was also on Beauty and the Briefcase, whatever that is. Babysitter Wanted, which is a horror film, it looks like. You, Me, and the Circus. Like 10 other things, but mostly Kyle XY.
The weird thing is, like, in some photos, like, if you get it just right, he actually looks like our Matt Dallas.
A little bit. I don't know. There's just something about that show that I would recommend it to every person I ever would meet. And the way that they ended the show...
Now, Jeff...
I about wanted to punch the creators right in the throat. How the heck can you end a show like this? It's just like this new development happened, and it's like, why? Why aren't you telling me what the heck happens? Because like the third season was cut off because of what was that stupid show? The Secret Life of the American Teenager with Woodley. Her show ruined my favorite show because her show was about some stupid teenage chick who got impregnated by some idiot jock guy who was a part of a band for some reason. How the heck that works, I don't know. I have strong opinions about that stupid show, if you haven't noticed.
And the really sad thing is, I think that stupid show is still on, right?
I don't think they're putting any new shows on. Here, I'll Google it right now.
But it just repeats so much that it's like it's. Is that what it is?
How many seasons? All I know is Woodley is the main actress, which is the chick from Divergent as well.
Now, Jeff, have you watched Gotham yet?
No, I don't usually watch too much cable.
Gotham is a great show. It's about... Well, I've done the review on the Bladcast for it before, or at least the first episode, but it's about Gotham City before Batman becomes Batman, or before Bruce Wayne becomes Batman. Like it's a prequel to the Batman series, I guess. And
okay, there were 5 seasons of this crap. Brenda Hampton, creator of Seventh Heaven, is behind the drama about ways a teenage pregnancy affects the lives of close-knit friends and family members. When Amy finds out she's pregnant after a fling at band camp, she faces a number of challenges. This is a horrible, absolute dog crap horrible show.
Well,
and this is coming from a person who watched the first season. I watched the first season with my sister, and I watched it, and I was like, what the heck is this crap?
Well,
and then when they took Kyle XY off because of it, livid, my friend, livid.
But Jeff, you're a guy and you're conservative.
What's your point?
Yeah, my point is, I'm being very politically incorrect, but I'm also being really revealing here. The girls who liked that show, who went to my middle school / high school, also liked they had certain tastes in guys who were kind of dirtbags.
Yes.
And like, I don't necessarily want to say that they were whores, but
they were very open about their sexual experiences.
well, there's a difference between being open and being like. There's a difference between being open and being like wide open.
Oh yeah. Well, that's kind of funny that chicks who are wide open, are watching a show about a chick who was wide open. If you get my drift.
Well,
if you don't, ask your mother.
Yeah, if you're still of that age where you're listening to us and you have no idea what we're talking about, yeah, just ask your mom or if you're a guy, ask your dad.
There's this thing on the internet that starts with P and rhymes with Lorne, and you can probably find out a bunch of information about it. And I mean, we can segue into that talk, Sam. I mean, hour 2 is just crazy like this. We could talk from movies to adultery, to society forcing people to live under a certain religious set of doctrine.
Yeah,
cough.
And then like, or we can talk about people who pretend to preach love but actually preach hate or something like that. But
I don't even know who we're talking about anymore.
No, I legitimately don't anymore either. But getting back to the news, so apparently, and Zach, you may have to help us out here with some of this, but apparently the comedian Bill Cosby has been caught up in allegations of a rape scandal, where he apparently, throughout the years, he raped something like 14 women, and then I guess bought it off there. He like bought them off with money or something, and then like a couple of them decided that they weren't gonna like shut their mouth anymore. And there's basically this whole rumor mill that's been going on about, did Bill Cosby molest and rape women, or didn't he, or what's this story? And like, I'm not big into this whole celebrity thing of until they actually go to court. But what I will say is, if Bill Cosby did rape these women, it doesn't change the fact that I still like some of his stand-up comedy bits. It does change the fact that I just think the guy has been a little bit way too preachy about certain things. You know who Bill Cosby is, right, Jeff?
Oh yeah, I'm not that far in the dark.
Well,
I know he's a comedian, he's an actor, now he's a part of like some Christian TV stations and such. And Sam, I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. It's all about the money. Money. It's all about the money. And the price tag, if you're getting where I'm singing from. But no, see, it is all about the dollar bills, dude. If I realized the fact that I could sue a celebrity who I was friends with and say they did something bad to me and get paid like this, I wouldn't do it, but people do, and they have. And it's messed up.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the other thing, folks, to consider with this whole Bill Cosby thing. I don't know if any of you have ever seen this episode of Family Guy, but there's this one episode of Family Guy that I absolutely love, And Jeff, I think you and I might have actually talked about this one before. But there's that one episode of Family Guy where the power goes out. And so the family is bored and Peter says, "Hey guys, let's start a rumor about some celebrity." And so they think of like the most sick rumor that you can think of about like a celebrity. Like I forget what it was, but it was like so and so like dry humps his shower or something.
Yes, I remember this.
It was like it was something like really absurd and like physically impossible to do, but you know it was like, and so they start this rumor, and it's just like they totally make it up, and eventually like it goes to the celebrity, and he's like, well, it's not true at all. And so he kind of disproves the Griffins. Then at the very end, you see that he goes into the shower and that it actually is true, even though it was just like a coincidence. But it just goes to show that people will start any rumor and make it convincing just to get back at a celebrity. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that Bill Cosby is a rapist, and I don't want to say that he isn't a rapist. I'm just saying until it goes to court, until we have actual evidence, all this stuff is just rumored. And I mean, I don't know. Zach was kind of the one that brought this up in the pre-show notes on Facebook before the show started, so I'm just kind of curious if he or anyone else has any thoughts about this.
I still think it's about the money. I mean,
yeah,
even I don't. Rape is something that's super tricky, and you don't want to make a light statement of it. But you look at these people and you hear these stories. Here's something that's dear to my heart because it's my school. The Sandusky case. This one person said that he was raped 100 times. Now, Sam, raping somebody, or if you're raped 100 times, I don't think that's rape. Not 100 freaking times. Was Sandusky doing anything but raping little children? Not necessarily. I don't think he raped very many children. Now, saying that, if he did rape kids, which the courts said that he did, I think that he should be punished justly for it. However, he raped me 100 times makes actual rape victims seem less of a harsh penalty. You know, if a person was actually raped and you're saying, "Oh yeah, I was raped too," but you weren't, it's making rape a light subject and a light-hearted subject, and to me, it's pretty messed up. Zach says, "I think the left threatened to destroy any black man who gets in the way of their agenda."
Well, see though, Zach, that's what I don't understand, because I thought Bill Cosby was on their side somewhat. I mean, I know he's a Christian, but I thought politically he was on the left. What wasn't he though? And so this doesn't make like a whole lot of sense to me.
I am looking up his religion. I can't find it on... Oh, sorry, not religion, politics. I know what his religion is. Politics. Not what I wanted. Cosby has always been openly critical of conservative Republican politicians in regards to their views on social economics and racial issues. In a 2013 CNN interview regarding voting rights, Cosby stated, quote, this Republican Party is not the Republican Party of 1980 or 1863 of Abraham Lincoln. Abolitionists and slavery is not good. I think it's important for us to look back at the underlying part of it. What is the value of it? Is it that some people are angry because of people no longer wanting to work for free? And then what else does they find? That's pretty much it. Zach commented. He said, Cosby preached to black males to pull up their pants and take responsibility of their lives. Cosby is a conservative, but he preached morality and responsibility in the black community. And they don't necessarily want that figure in the way. Especially like what we were talking about the last hour. People who constantly take from the government, and Cosby's like, we are made for much more than this. And that's the reason why Zach would think, and I would sort of agree with him, that the Democrats want to get rid of this notion. They want to make him and any other person stands in their way. They see to get him out.
Now, here's the interesting thing, and I don't know if this is just like coincidental or what, but Bill Cosby's comedy albums on iTunes and on it, or no, I'm actually looking at Amazon MP3, but you know, they're kind of the same thing. They've dropped down to like about $5. Now, I don't know if that's just because of like a sale or whatever, but it just seems like coincidental that like all these rumors come out, and now some of these albums like drop down in prices. Because I know that like sometimes that happens where like I remember during the Michael Jackson scandal, like I think where he was accused of molesting a little boy. I think some of his records like took like a major price drop, as did his sales. So I mean, I could just be grasping at straws, but it does seem kind of interesting to me. But I mean, anyway, yeah. So I mean, Zach could be right. It could just be, you know, they're targeting Cosby. I think probably you're right. They're just targeting him because of the money. And look, someone could be targeting Bill Cosby just because they're bored and they think that they might want the publicity.
Oh, probably. I wouldn't doubt it for a second. Anything is possible nowadays, especially with the world of the internet. And you know, you can say something on the internet and then it just happens that way now.
The only good thing I can think about this is the only good thing about this would be that his albums are like dirt cheap right now, but that's the only thing I can think of. But anyway,
I'm trying to find an article I found earlier on Young Cons, but I can't find it, so I'm looking for it on IG Review. Did you see the video of the 30-year-old who's still on welfare? Found it.
No, but again, but again, just like with Obama, are we really surprised?
No, not at all. So, Sam, you have the video pulled up now?
Yeah, I was in the iTunes store. Let me go. Okay.
So pretty much the title of this, IGReview.com, this is from the 11th, or sorry, not the 11th. That's the month of the 11th. It was from 5 days ago. I believe that's Tuesday, right? The hidden tragedy of entitlements. What a 12-year-old welfare abuser says about finding a job. We're going to go ahead and play this clip.
Now,
It's only a minute long.
Now, just be clear. This guy isn't actually like 12 years old, but he's been on.
It's a girl. She's been on welfare for 12 years. She's 30 years old.
Okay, yeah, I think I may have seen this before, but let's go ahead and play it.
30-year-old Kiera of Baltimore, been on welfare for 12 years. She hadn't made any efforts into getting off public services and feels entitled to these services.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'm 30 years old, I have 4 kids, and I've been on welfare for 12 years.
Some people are on welfare for a short period of time, while others take advantage and are on it for generation after generation. Do you live in government housing?
Yes, since I was 18, but they put me out because I didn't report my boyfriend living there with me.
Are you employed?
No.
How do you feel about that?
I'm comfortable with it, and I feel like I don't need to look for one because I get a check from the government every month.
How much do you collect in benefits?
I get $7.80 in food stamps, $500 in TANF, and I get Medicaid and WIC.
Now, for you listening,
For 12
probably didn't hear, or obviously you can't hear what she's wearing. Sam, tell the viewers, tell the listeners, what is different about her that normal welfare recipients wouldn't get?
Well, I'm looking at this video and my jaw just dropped. For those of you who can't see me, which obviously Jeff can't even see me, but my jaw dropped to the floor when I saw this because she has tattoos. She has tattoos, and not just like tramp stamp or really, cheap tattoos. She has like, really kind of elaborate looking tattoos, like right above her breasts, kind of below her neck, and she has like 2 earrings.
Big gold earrings, dude. Not just earrings. Big hoop gold earrings here. These things are expensive as crap. And this chick, and then her hair is done well, kinda. But just look at the tattoos. Hundreds of dollars worth of tattoos. Those earrings, even, the cheap ones, still $10. And let's just go over the facts. She's been living on welfare for 12 years. She used to live in government housing. Well, she lives in government housing since she was 18 years old. She was kicked out for a little while because she wasn't reporting her boyfriend. What else? She feels entitled to her. She feels entitled to the check that she gets at the end of the month from the government. Let me get my calculator out here on my phone to do the math, not including the other programs. Let's go ahead and listen to the very end.
$500 in TANF, and I get Medicaid food stamps, $500 in TANF.
Went too far again.
I get $7.80 in food stamps, $500 in TANF, and I get Medicaid and WIC.
So let's Google search average amount for Medicaid. Let's go to kff.org. The average for adult and children, let's just say it's about per enrollee $5,000. Let's just say $3,000 for the sake of argument. So plus $3,000 let's say plus an extra $500 to be okay with wake, she gets $4,780. Now let's multiply that by 12. She gets $57,360 roughly from the government a year for 12 years. And she is never going to look for another job. You know why? Because she doesn't have to.
Well, why would she? I'm over here and I'm thinking, damn, that's
pretty nice.
That's more money than I'm making.
I was at work today, and I was thinking, I'm going to college. I'm going to try and get a job in the future. But here's the real case scenario here. I could skip all of that. I could stay at home and play Call of Duty and get paid more than what I'm getting paid at my job.
Yeah, you could stay at home in your underpants and playing Call of Duty, eating Cheetos.
Here, I'll do the math right here. So I don't get paid hourly. Let's say I get paid 3 times 3, multiply that by 8. If I work an 8-hour shift, 5 days a week, multiply that by 4, multiply that by 12. I'm getting... I don't think that math is right. I have to redo that. Okay, so I make that times that. So I get paid $10 an hour. Multiply that by 8 hours, which is full time. Multiply... Wait, let's go 1035. What the heck? 1035 times 40 hours a week times 4 weeks in a month. Multiply that by 12 for 12 months in a year. And it's about 20 grand. I could be making more money doing nothing but playing Call of Duty and getting master prestige. And this chick is doing nothing to advance her family and their well-being. But no, she's sitting on her butt and is letting this go. And I'm just going to go... I think I talked about this last week. I have a friend who I work with who... I love the kid to death. I would die for this kid. But he's been living off of the government. Him and his mom have been living off the government since I've known him for about 5-6 years now. And they were living off the government before then. And my boss goes up to him in a recession and says, hey, I want you to work full time. And he says, I can't. I cannot work more than 35 hours a week or I will lose my food stamps. Now, I did the math. He could work those 5 extra hours to make full time and make well more than he needs to get over food stamps. And I asked him, I said, well, why don't you just put an extra couple of hours? You could pay for your food stamps and more. And Sam, this is what he said. I don't want to pay for groceries. Now, that would be understandable if the kid was 16, 17. I'll even take 18. He's 21. That's called laziness. And tomorrow, I'm going to be working with him, and my boss wants me to work with him. And my boss told me today that my friend wanted my boss, he told my boss, yeah, you're probably going to fire me, right? And my boss said, absolutely not. I am not going to fire you because if I fire you, I have to pay for unemployment. I'm not going to do that. My friend is trying to get this excuse to be fired. This is what is wrong with America. This is why we do not have the thriving country we used to have. If you listen to the last episode of the Matt Dow's program, he played a clip where this guy goes and he's talking about why America is not exceptional anymore. And I'm going to talk about this in great detail on my show on Tuesday night. Wink, wink, hint, hint, tune in. 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. But America is not great anymore. We do not have this great, unexceptional way of living anymore. Unexceptional, I mean over-exceptional. We used to have this country, this mindset, this principle behind us. That nobody's going to help us. Everything that we do and we do for the betterment of ourselves and our community.
Yep.
Never would even 25, 30 years ago would people ever imagine a person being on welfare for over 12 years.
Well, let me tell you something else, Jeff. President Kennedy, God rest his soul, would not recognize the United States of America if he came back. In the 50 years since his assassination, President Kennedy, who, yes, I know, was a Democrat, but he was not a liberal Democrat. He wasn't a leftist. In fact, President Kennedy would be considered a conservative today by most liberals because he talked about economic, independence and, bigger industry and less government interfering in people's lives. President Kennedy made the famous quote of, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." Where is that mindset today, ladies and gentlemen? And furthermore, this is the same president who told us before the decade is out, we will have gone to the moon. And that started the great space race of the 1960s.
We don't have that anymore. And we will never have that anymore. Because, Sam, if you are working, you are getting penalized for working more. Literally penalized for doing your job.
Right. Not even that, Jeff, but where are the dreamers in this country?
Yeah.
It's
Where are the people who put up their boots at the end of the day and said, that was a good freaking work day. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. And you know what? I'm going to wake up in the morning and I have an idea. And I don't just have an idea of how to make the world a better place. Dang it, I'm going to move on this idea. Like you said, where the heck are the dreamers at? Where are the innovators at? Where the heck are these people who say, I've had enough? I'm sick and tired of this world pushing me over like this, and freaking gosh darn it, I'm going to do something about it. We don't have this mindset anymore, and America's screwed if we continue it.
Well, see, we don't have the mindset of what's. I mean, and heck, the thing with the whole thing with going to the moon, it wasn't necessarily like the moon has a whole bunch to offer us. It's not like we were going to get resources, but we don't even have that sense of curiosity anymore. We're like, I wonder what's out there. Let's go to the moon, and let's see what else is out there, and let's claim for the greatness of mankind's knowledge that we went to the moon. There is so much out there that we haven't explored yet, even in our own country. And there are lots of politicians who have decided that rather than NASA being in existence, NASA should be a Muslim outreach organization now. I mean,
yeah.
we don't have a space program anymore. And I mean, just think about that. We don't have a space program anymore. At least or if we do, it's not in a working capacity anymore.
Everything that seemed to do, that needed to, well, that was doing well. Everything that seemed to just be smooth and moving and doing great things, just demolished, destroyed. Because we're so lazy in this country. And not lazy to the point where we don't want to, not to the point where we can't do something. Not the lazy where, no, I do mean the lazy that we just don't do stuff. If something hurts you over and over and over again, you're going to stop doing it. If I work more, I'm going to get more and more and more hurt. Therefore, I'm going to stop. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to do it. And I'm not going to think of a business because I don't want the creative drive to do something. And even if I do have this creative drive and I want to make this company, I don't want to hire people because then I'm going to have to pay them a bunch, and I'm going to have to pay a whole bunch of taxes, and I'm going to have to pay for the people who aren't working. Why is it fair? Explain to me, to the Democrats listening, how is it fair that Sam, me, Patrick, Matt, Stephanie, we are all working at NGC, and we're all working at other jobs, and we're working at maybe school. How is it fair that we're penalized while you sit on your butt, not you as in every Democrat, but over the majority of people? You sit on your butt and you say, I deserve, I'm entitled to food stamps. I'm entitled to government housing. No, you're not. And here's what food stamps should be in a nutshell. Bread and milk. And I'll even give you sandwiched meat. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you get. Bread, milk, and sandwich meat. I want chips, Mom. Too bad. I didn't work enough this month. I can't afford it. Mm-hmm. I didn't work at all this month. Why? Because I was too busy sleeping around. I was too busy playing video games. I was too busy doing nothing, watching my free cable. I wasn't doing anything to advance my own life. So we're not going to be able to buy Smarties, and we're not going to be able to go to Starbucks. And we're not going to be able to go to American Eagle and get your new $80 jeans. We're going to be going to the Salvation Army and picking up clothing that smells like cat pee. And I hope that the people who get the cat pee clothing realize how crappy or pissy it is. So that they get off their butts and they do something about it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know if any clothes at the Salvation Army smell like cat pee. I do know that thrift shopping and like clothes at the Goodwill, heck, I even buy clothes from the Goodwill somewhat. In fact, the suit jacket that's kind of like the my wool suit jacket. One of my wool suit jacket that's kind of become, I guess, standard. It's kind of become the standard look on the Whitfield Analysis logo. I got that at a secondhand shop back when I was in Denver. $20. Again, there's nothing wrong with thrift shopping, so I would say that, but I think the big thing is we just need to get back to innovating. We need to get our passion back, and that's a big problem in this country. Anyway, folks, I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. You can follow us on Twitter at NGC_media. And please go to ngcmedia.net and follow our website. I'll be back next weekend. Until then, good night, God bless, and God save this great nation.
Hello friends, Jeff Hamill here. The holiday season is officially upon us, and that means it is time to go out and buy gifts for your friends and relatives. The greatest gift you can give your loved ones is a power bank from Octopod. A power bank is a portable charging station that you can connect any USB device to. Go to octopod.com/NGC and check out the Ion 10, Ion 3, and Ion Solar power banks. Again, their website is octo-pod.com/NGC. And remember, NGC is powered by Octopod.